My name is Zibi and I am a wedding photographer and filmmaker based in London, United Kingdom. And today I want to talk to you about shooting a wedding ceremony in a church. I'm gonna talk about all the different churches. Could be a Catholic Church, could be a Church of England, basically any other church. So my approach to shooting a wedding in a church here in UK, and I'm going to talk about my philosophy, about equipment I use, about the settings. However, I'm going to start what I do at the very beginning, and then I'm going to go through the whole process. You might think shooting a wedding is not a big deal. Shooting a wedding, church wedding, is not a big deal. It's just another wedding ceremony, and you would be absolutely right. However, there is some things I do beforehand, during the ceremony, and after the ceremony to make sure I'm well received, I'm well welcomed, I can come back to that church, and I was not really that intrusive. So basically, I do what I say what I do, or the other way around. So what I do really first, before I'm going to jump to any equipment, before I'm going to jump what I bring to that wedding, how I behave. So beforehand, when I know that the wedding is coming, the wedding ceremony is coming, the date is coming very soon, I call to that particular church. I call the person who will be who is in charge there. Is it a priest, vicar, celebrant? Could be anybody who is in charge there. I introduce myself. I tell them that I am contracted to shoot a wedding there, that bride and groom, or mother of the groom, mother of the bride, whoever contracted me to shoot a wedding there, I'll be there, and I offer to come over if I can. Yeah, so if you can, if I can, if I have time, if I want to, I offer to come over there to discuss quickly. Maybe I'm going to be in the area the day I'm thinking of. Maybe it's very close, convenient for me to do that. Maybe I heard it's problematic there to shoot. So I offer to come for a quick meeting, to introduce myself, to see if there is any particular rules, house rules, and can I check the light, positioning, maybe I can be helpful to that person, or maybe that person can be helpful to me, so that put that person who is in charge in a position, in that position which I want to from the very beginning. So I show respect. I show that I am there coming as a guest, that I'm trying to give a respect. Most of the cases is, don't worry, thank you so much, I appreciate. Come over sometime beforehand, it will be more than enough. These people are busy, they don't have time for that. They say, come half an hour before, 45 minutes before, 15 minutes before. So this is what I actually do afterwards. However, first thing I do, I offer that meeting. Remember that most likely, if it's first time in that particular church, you may come back there. So it's not like you're doing that for just one time and you can do whatever you want. You may come back there, most likely you will. And it's really crucial to be friends with that priest, vicar, this celebrant, that person who is in charge there. Most likely they're going to be there for a long time. So you will have already the kind of relationship started with them. So next time, next year, same year, following year, you will come back there and they will remind you, they will remember you, and you will have a box ticked. So it's really good to do a good first impression, to show respect if you want, if you basically can. The next thing is, even before I start the wedding day, I dress up to occasion. So if I know there's going to be church wedding, I come in a dress shirt and I come in a suit. So that shirt would be kind of the most casual. This, I've got the same blue, usually I wear white, and very casual suit grey or navy. Why? Because even if it would be very hot summer, even if it would be the church somewhere in a hot environment in south of France or Italy, I would come in a long dress trousers, in a suit, and dress shirt. Why? So I want to come, especially on the very beginning, come inside the church, and I say hello to the priest, to the vicar, introduce myself, and I want the priest, the vicar, not to judge me, not to say, oh, this guy, look at this guy in the shorts. This photographer in the shorts is not my favorite photographer. I want to be the favorite photographer. I want to build this relationship not based on judgment straight away. This is my philosophy, remember. So I come and introduce myself. I'm the photographer. Why I do introduce myself? Such an easy thing. I've seen lots of photographers, they don't introduce themselves. They come last minute and they say, I'm a photographer, I'm going to take pictures here. And I've seen photographers being asked to stop in one place and not to move, or to be very, very far back because they haven't done this kind of, they haven't built this rapport with vicar. So I introduce myself, I tell them who I am, and I listen to them. I take time to 5 minutes, 7 minutes to ask if there's any particular house rules they want me to follow. Is there any place I shouldn't go? Obviously, I know what to do. However, I behave like they want me to do, and I ask them, listen, usually if I ask that, said, don't worry, you can be here, you can be there, you can do this, you can do that. So it's not really I'm having any kind of forbidden stuff if I do that. If I don't, I mean, I've seen it again, photographers being asked to stop, and I was doing videography in this particular church, and I could do so much stuff, and photographer, even the ceremony was stopped and photographer was asked to leave the church. Can you imagine? And I was videographer, I was really going almost wherever I wanted, and photograph and priest, vicar, stopped the church ceremony and said, listen, I want this photographer to leave, to be very far back. And he said to me, don't worry about you can continue filming. So this is why I do it. This is the philosophy beforehand. And then I don't shoot in a jacket. I put it away. But for the first few seconds, for the first few minutes, I go inside the church. Many times I roll up my sleeves, so I just want to be more comfortable. However, the first few seconds, the first few minutes, I come in a suit, and it's not a suit like groom is wearing a suit. It's a very casual suit. I don't wear bow tie or tie, even though if you want, no problem, do it. However, I wear this jacket just to show that respect. And now we're gonna talk about gear. So, and talk about the clue of this video. So how to shoot a church wedding. So I use 2 cameras. Sometimes I use them on a hip. Sometimes I use them in a hand. So one is on a hip, one is in a hand. But mostly we use the harnesses like that. So these are harnesses made in somewhere in East Europe. We have it for many years. Usually I don't sit when I put them on, and it's a disaster now. Why? Because I put them on and I had a problem. Okay, so usually I put them on my shirt. Yeah, I don't really put them on my jacket, and it looks like this. Obviously, you draw attention to you that you are photographer. You can't hide it that you are photographer, and I don't hide it. However, I try to stay as invisible as possible. Yeah, I don't call myself photo ninja. However, you are there to witness the moment, not to create it. Yeah, so you're not there to be visible. If you can't. Again, that's my philosophy. On the left hand side, I have something which is wide. So in this particular thing, it is 35 millimeter. On the right hand side, I have something which is more zoomed in, which is 50 or 85 millimeter. Usually it's 50. However, there's going to be many different occasions and many moments which I'm going to tell you I'm using longer lenses. Why 50? Go to that video here or here, where I'm talking about why we love 50 millimeter lens. Why two cameras? So first of all, two different focal lengths, so you can create two different looks, two different images from one image. Second reason is you need a backup. Your client doesn't care that your camera failed, so you have a backup of two cameras. I mean, one camera is backupping the other camera. So even though they both take two memory cards, however, if the camera fail, your both memory cards in that camera are going to be useless from that point onwards. So make sure you're shooting in two cameras simultaneously, so you have both register wedding, because something can fail and you will have problem. So your client doesn't care what camera you use. Your client doesn't care that your camera failed. I usually have two. One is still in the bag, even though it's not working like at this very moment. So I don't have three on me. I have usually at least two cameras which I can use. Third reason why two cameras is because, like I mentioned, I have backup of cards as well. So even though it's something breaks, I can still move the cards around. So you have a lot of different backup on you. And again, when you find yourself in the situation you are too close with that lens, you can do wider. If there is the shape of the church or the shape of the benches do not allow me to come closer, I use different lenses. So for example, I use 70-100. Carolina hates to use that lens. Carolina won't use that lens. If the benches are very long and I can't come really close, like distance wise, I use that more often than less. If the bench is gonna be not that wide, gonna be, let's say, taking 4 people or 8 people, there's a benches taking 12, 24 people, different benches, different shape of the area where the wedding ceremony is taking place. I will use 16 for few shots, 24, or I will go upstairs to take the few shots from the balcony during the ceremony. So you have to remember, church wedding ceremony is not like dynamic. However, there is lots of things happening within the moment. So let's say you don't really need that many shots of bride looking at the groom, because the picture does not really hold what they're saying. Yeah, you have to catch the emotions. Yeah, so when they're looking at each other, the spectator, the person who is viewing the pictures, who's looking at the pictures, they don't know what they're doing at that particular moment. If you just do the look, if you just do the face, if you do it when they put a ring on or they reading to each other something, yeah, holding hands, yes, that's different moments. However, so dynamic can be within the moment. So the moments are unfolding very quickly, and even quicker they are disappearing. So that's where you have to be quick. If you need to come closer, but don't check the pictures. Go back. Check the picture. If you need to use burst mode, do it. However, don't do it when it's silent. Don't do it when everybody is quiet, and do it when they're singing. Do it when the vicar is talking a lot. I don't use burst mode. I use single mode, and I use quiet shutter, so to be as silent as possible. Why? Because again, I want the guest, the priest, vicar, celebrant to complement my behavior, my equipment, my perception, my idea, my philosophy of the wedding day. Coming to the settings, so I use during that wedding ceremony, I will not use flash gun at all. Why? It is not allowed to use the flash gun in most of the churches in UK. However, there is some churches you can, but I will not use that. I will use available light, and because of in the church you will have candles, LED lights, spotlights. You have available light, daylight coming through the windows. Could be even colorful windows coming through the colorful windows. So you have 4, 5, 6, 7 different types of lighting. So I will use auto white balance. The rest of the settings, there's gonna be manual. However, white balance is gonna be auto because I cannot really control where I'm gonna point my camera. Shutter speed, I will use at least 1/200 of the second just to freeze the moment, just to prevent any blurry pictures. I will keep ISO as low as possible. I will not keep auto ISO. I will not give that control to the camera. And with the aperture, I will use something like 2.0 to 2 to 5 to 8. Maybe even I will close it more. I will not use wide open. I don't like that shallow depth of field. However, there are moments I will use 1.4 or 1.2 or with 16 2.8, with 2.8 2.8. There is some photographers, they're not going to go shallower than 2.8. However, with 35, I will use 1.4. Yeah, so I will move again accordingly what we discussed with the priest. I will stay mostly to see the bride. However, if I know there's some readings, I will move back just before and use 70 to 200 to capture the person who is reading. Maybe I will capture then again wide when they're reading, and then again come back to see the bride. Mostly I want pictures of the bride when of the side of the bride. However, again, I want these pictures to be variety, so I will point the camera towards spectators, towards the guests, friends and family. I will do it mostly during the moment when something finally happened, so not when they are sitting down beforehand. Maybe just to be sure I have some captured. However, when it's gonna be just after the exchanging of the rings, just after the vows, just after the maybe the first kiss, if it's happening, I will shoot more, and I will shoot both wide as well as the close-ups, especially close-ups, the people who are as close as possible. So people are first 2-3 benches, so people who are the most important, the intimate family, immediate family, I shall say. Remember, you are there to capture to witness the day, not to create a day. So I try to be as least visible as possible. I don't really pose people. However, if I have to, I will quickly step in and step out. If I see that the groom's tie or bow tie is something wonky, I will come over and do it quickly, because they will appreciate that. And I explained that on the beginning, initial conversation, that I step in. If I see that the bride's got very awkward hair here, maybe I will even speak quickly to maid of honor or one of the bridesmaids or someone sitting very closely, and I will tell that, or maybe I show quickly on the picture. However, I will do it because I know they will appreciate that. There's one more reason why I use 2 cameras, especially when they're leaving the church. So imagine, wedding season usually is during summer or bright daylight. So once they stepping out, they're not going to wait for you. Of course, you can slow them down. You can ask them to take time. However, imagine if they step out from the church, you wanted to get captured. So during the end of the ceremony, towards the end of the ceremony, I will set one of the cameras, the wider one, to the wide with the wider lens. I will set up. I will go quickly out, check my settings, and I will match it to what's happening outside, how bright is that, and all of that. So I am prepared when I step out. I can instantly start to take pictures. Again, I will do it wide. Why? Because I want it as much as possible. I could do it with 50 or 85. However, I will maybe do it with 35 or even 24 to 70. Why? Because to have it variety, to have 24 close down to 50 or 70, and to have two different variety of pictures is important, is nice. However, again, maybe we stop them, maybe they're gonna come down, and maybe we're gonna do it with the confetti outside. It really depends on itinerary, if what is happening. However, I want to be prepared, so two cameras give you that possibility to be prepared to different conditions. Someone's going to ask, are you using aperture priority? No, I don't use aperture priority. It's quite reliable. However, I don't want this quite reliable. I want manual settings because I want a full control of what camera is doing. I know now with the mirrorless technology, we can see the pictures before it's been taken. You can adjust your settings quickly. So that's why I'm not really letting the camera to judge for me, to change settings for me. Only the white balance, which can be adjusted. Remember, shoot in RAW, and you can adjust many of the settings. You can recover highlights, you can recover shadows, you can use it in post. You can do a lot. However, I try to have the final image as close to ideal from the camera. As the last part, I will tell you a few stories of the church's wedding. So when we come to attire, when we come to the what you're gonna wear. So we've been shooting together with Carolina the wedding in Poland, and it was extremely hot, and I had similar shirt like this. I mean, it was dress shirt, however, short sleeve, long trousers. And I should have. Carolina was wearing jumpsuit with the shoulders and other woman parts which were not really fully covered. And the ceremony was run by two priests, Catholic Church. They haven't said anything. However, they've been invited as well for beginning of the wedding reception for drinks, and they approached Carolina and mentioned, next time when you shoot a wedding in a church, probably you're not gonna have that friendly priest. So make sure you have a jacket or you cover with the blouse or anything like that. So that was just a tip. I approached both of the priests on the very beginning, introduced myself, went all of through, blah, blah. And I mentioned it's going to be my wife with me. They said, oh yeah, amazing, fantastic, yeah. However, then afterwards, just a lesson, just to cover, even with the kind of like a scarf, light scarf, anything like that, that would be kind of a lesson. Another story, I shot a wedding a long time ago in one of the churches in South London. I'm not going to bring the name, however, and then another couple. Oh yeah, and in that church, that was Church of England, and the vicar said there is no photographers in my church. So, and that very occasion we didn't have much. Couple knew that, they were okay with that when they realized there is a house rules like this. It's fine. We didn't have much of the wedding ceremony. We have few because I had 70 to 100, so I shoot in a silent mode from far back. However, I couldn't come to the front. So In next few years, I haven't been shooting there. However, a couple of years ago, I shot a wedding there and I broke my rules. What I want to say is I didn't go to introduce myself as a photographer. I put the harness away and I put my jacket on and I took small camera in my hand. That was Fujifilm X-T3, I believe, and with 35mm lens. And I was standing in a second bench, just behind mother of the bride. And then couple knew there is house rules, no photographers there. Bride just looked back on me and smiled. She knew that I'm gonna pretend a guest and I'm gonna take a pictures. I'm gonna photograph all the wedding. I've done it from that point. I photographed most of the wedding from that point, and then in the end I moved to the other side to have a few shots from this other side as well, and then on the end I went out first, pick up my gear, and I just continue. I put my jacket off, put my harness, and Vicar see me later on, but he never recognized me. He never recognized some guest standing in the second row taking the pictures in a jacket, and I had a white shirt. He came out, he apologized, he said that's the house rules. I said it was fine, no problem, and we continue, we carry on. I had all the wedding ceremony set. It hasn't been as I wanted, however, it's been as close to ideal as possible, and yeah. So as you see, not every rule needs to be set as stone. However, that's the rules will allow me for many years to successfully and as less interference as possibly could to shoot many churches wedding ceremonies. So thank you so much. If you got any questions, please feel free to put them down in the comments. Next video will be how to shoot civil ceremony. I will call one of the town halls and ask. So that will be part of the conversation I am having with one of the town halls in London to explain how to shoot civil ceremony.